the song with your heart. Play the song with your heart.
At the QB that's actually worth a ham sandwich. Now you got to pay him $200 million. How else am I going to sign players?
Mm-hmm.
So I think there needs to be a discussion had on whether QB contracts should count towards the cap, or all of QB contracts should count towards the cap, because it's getting out of hand.
Yeah. You're not afraid of the whole thing about it affecting the parity of the game? Does that worry you at all? You think that's not going to affect the parity of football, of the NFL?
See, the NFL is a lot different than sports like basketball, because even still, you can have the most souped up team in the world. Pat Mahomes will still come in and beat you. I don't know how he does it, but look, the 49ers roster is freaking stacked. Pat Mahomes still came in and beat him. So it's a whole different ball game. We've seen stacked teams in the NFL not win it all and underperform. So it's not really the same. The dynamic ain't really, because it's two separate sides of the ball. It's 22 players on a roster. It's just there's 22, 11 offense, 11 on defense. I think it's a completely different dynamic. I don't think you'll really be able to stack the deck as much as people think you would with that rule being put in.
Okay, all right. So let's go to the other quarterback that signed a new deal, and that was Jordan Love. You know, he is now the highest paid player in NFL history. He's making $55 million per year. He's making $220 million on a 4-year contract off one great year. I think with Jordan Love, here's my thing with Jordan Love. I think he has the potential to be one of the superstar QBs in the NFL. Just his ability, his talent level. He sat behind Aaron Rodgers for 3 years. I look at him, the 1 year that he's quarterback, he's done more than all the years that Tua has quarterback. So that's how good he was in 2023 NFL season. I just think the first 7 games, you know, he was very inconsistent. I was a bit worried, but then
A bit?
I was very worried. I was very concerned. Okay. I was very concerned. But then, you know, second half of the year came around and he turned it up and he played well. And this team, the offense, they really got a groove on. The Thanksgiving game is, I think that's his coming out party. That was when we were like, okay, he's legit. He's one of those dudes. And that was that. And he won a playoff game against your Cowboys. I'm not going to throw salt in the wound, but we already know. We don't really need to discuss any more of that. But he played well. He played well. And against the 49ers, he had a lead against them. Ultimately, he threw a very bad interception. He looked like me playing quarterback on Heisman difficulty at the end of the game. So, yeah, man, he almost beat the 49ers. But, you know, at the end of the day, he's young. And hopefully we can get back to that stage again and beat them. But I'm not mad at this contract. I think his ability, if you watch his tape, if you understand the person, then you should feel comfortable with Jordan Love. He doesn't seem like a guy that's going to get injured a lot. He doesn't take unnecessary risk, and he can make all the throws. I remember the comparisons to Aaron Rodgers. Well, I hate to say it, he does have some Aaron Rodgers qualities, not the bad qualities, but a lot of the good qualities, you know what I'm saying? And he's a brother too, so that's a plus. So I like the contract. What about you?
Some would say this contract is a little premature. They really gave him this money off of a 9-game sample size. But in those 9 games, he was playing as a top 10 QB. And he's projected to get even better. So, and like you said, like I said before, these QB contracts only goes up. So he may be making the most in NFL history, but by the time next year rolls around, he might not even be top 3, depending on who's getting their money next year. So you gotta bite the bullet now to heal the wound later, because I mean, you don't want to wait till he's nearly an MVP candidate and pay him, and now you got to pay him $60 million a year. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, I mean, hey, I'll support teams being smart and paying their guys like immediately, as soon as possible, because these contracts, they only get bigger and bigger. And Jordan Love's he's a good player, in my opinion. And he was duking it out with the 49ers on the road, made it a close game. Like you said, they had the lead at one point, but it made close. Towards the end of the game, stuff happened. But and I think the Packers roster is getting better. So that he'll have more time to gel with these guys. He'll have Christian Watson for a full year. Hopefully, he avoids the injury bug and everything. So I mean, the Packers, hey man, like I said, the NFC North. Good luck. It's going to be some good football for years to come in that division.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the NFC North in future weeks, so I can't wait to discuss that. But yeah, I mean,
Do you think they more? I'm sorry to cut you off. Do you think more teams are going to implement the Jordan Love method? I mean, we see the Falcons already. They trying their spin on the whole. Let's get a QB, even though we have one on the roster already, type thing. Do you think they were like, okay, let's get a guy, maybe 2-year out on a starting QB. We get out of contract in 2 years. Let's draft a guy that we like immediately. So then by the time, if this guy ends up being cooked food or we just don't want him on the team anymore, we can be like, well, hey, we got this guy just chill on the bench. He's been sitting for 2 years. He knows the playbook. He knows the scheme. He has good reps in practice. Let's put him out there and let's see how it does. And if he does well, we could pay him some money instead of having to go through the whole process of draft the QB, developing the QB, and yada yada yada.
I think it's, first of all, it's going to have to be a smart team, and two, they have to have a luxury to have a pretty solid QB at quarterback. So I would say the Rams could potentially do that. I think they're a potential team that can sort of enforce that model of, okay, we're going to draft the QB in the first round and we'll let Stafford start the next 2 years. And then afterwards, he'll probably retire and then we can start the QB. I think that's the only team I could see really doing that in the immediate future. It's going to be very rare because a lot of these teams are desperate. They're trying to win now. They're trying to get people in the seats. And we see with the QB market, there's not a lot of really good quarterbacks. Like, it's a dime a dozen. And the Jordan Love model, we got very lucky. We got very fortunate. Brett Favre, you had Brett Favre, and then you had Aaron Rodgers sit for 3 years. And then we do the exact same thing with Jordan Love. We got very fortunate. The only other team I could see them doing that is the Rams because of Matthew Stafford and how amazing he is. The Jets, no. That's not happening. Aaron Rodgers' ego, that's not happening. Aaron Rodgers, he's going to be out of here. I give Aaron Rodgers maybe 2 years, this season and the next season, and then he's out. Shoot, he might be out after this season, depending on how they play. So I don't see it happening. I just think the Falcons and the Rams are probably the only two teams that are going to go to that way of thinking. Every other team, they're just desperate. They need to start the QB either now or later in the season because teams, they're trying to win now. They're trying to keep their jobs. And
just let me be me.